Hey everybody, and welcome to the Top 10 Games of 2017. Number 11. Game I should have played last year. Mafia 3. Mafia 3 is absolutely fantastic and I regret not playing it sooner. Something I wasn't expecting from it was how amazing the motion capture and voice acting were going to be. It got a little repetitive eventually, but nothing was so time consuming that it put me off from working on the main story. It's just awesome. Be careful messing with Godzilla, he just might burn down everything you have. Number 10. Game I wish I'd waited until it was finished. Oh, Dead Cells, how I love your smooth combat and weapon variety and awesome look and cool levels. How I adore the feel of teleporting behind an enemy, enveloping them in a cloud of ash, and stabbing them in the back, causing them to explode into a puddle of blood that damages other nearby enemies. And oh, how I wish I had waited to play you when you were fully released so I didn't burn down on you before you were done. Number 9. Game that made my skin crawl. While I may have issues with design choices and the checkpoint system of Little Nightmares, I absolutely love the visual design of it. The enemies are utterly horrifying and touch something primal inside you when they see them. Things just aren't supposed to look and move like that. It's not how life works. Number 8. The game that I dug the most. Let me do an indie bin, I said. Let me just play the game a little bit while it renders, I said. Let me just dig a little deeper before I start the LP, I said. Of course, I put 10 hours into it in one day and spent the next day completing it, and I've been steadily chipping away at the challenge level since. SteamWorld Dig 2 is everything the first game was and more. The art style is utterly beautiful, the music fantastic, the new powers and enemies and zones are all amazing. I love this game! Number 7. Game that almost made me a Switch. Ruiner is just cool. It's just pure cool. It's like, in terms of cool factor, it's this year's Hyperlight. The setting, the style, the combat, the dashing, everything about it is just cool. It has some overall issues, but it's fucking fantastic. So get up, puppy. You've got people to kill. Number 6. The game that was just purely my aesthetic. Chunky weapons, chunky armor, chunky levels, every single thing about the Surge's design is what I love. Sense of speed during combat, but the plotting movement out of it feels so good. The game feels so tight compared to Lords of the Fallen, and the level design, while a bit samey sometimes, is actually really interesting to look at, and the world they build almost purely through text logs and audio logs and stuff like that, and seeing, where dead bodies are, is actually pretty fascinating. I kind of want to dig into the lore of this game, but sadly there's no real community around it. Number 5. Game I loved except for that one section. I love Hollow Knight. I love exploring the depths of Dirtmouth, and fighting Mantis Lords, and climbing through the jungles of Greenpath. I love everything about the look and feel and sound of Hollow Knight, except the White Palace. I spent long and hard thinking about where this game went on my list, because while I adore every single thing about the game, I had it so soured by the White Palace that I almost didn't even put it on the list. Hollow Knight is almost a perfect game. Almost. Number 4. Game that made me stare and wonder. Hob is beautiful. The combat is great, the world is fun to explore, the storytelling is interesting, but the game shines most in its pure beauty. There were so many times I stopped and stared at an area, the sense of scale, the stories told just by the environment, the gorgeous little details. I love everything about Hob. 3. Game that everyone in it was hot. Why is everyone in Pyre so hot? Like, almost every character they show is fucking beautiful. Why? Why is Supergiant so good at making gorgeous people? I mean, I guess they're also good at crafting an amazing story and compelling sports-based gameplay and gorgeous visuals and music and interesting characters that you care about, but why is everyone so hot? 2. The game where I got to chop up a lot of Nazis. How do they make a fucking 3-frame portrait of a blonde meathead one of the most compelling characters in years? Terror Billy is a fantastic character, and I don't get what black magic they performed to get to this timeline. In terms of the game, it stumbles a little with the shooting and level design, but makes up for it in story, sound design, music, and the ability to kill so many Nazis. Number 1. Game with the best group of furries. I have never been quite so attached to a character that wasn't one of my own than I have with Mae Borowski. She's a shitty kid who refuses to grow up, and I relate to her so much. Every character in this absolutely beautiful game feels like such a real person. Bee's struggle with her life and family, Craig's growing up and realizing he can't be the person he was before, Angus's past driving him to be the person he is now. Every character in the town, from Ghost Smelters to Selmers to Aunt Mall Cop, all feel like real people with real lives. Not to mention all of the side stories and little things around the town. All of this is over top a much darker plot that made me actually tense. I adore every single thing about Night in the Woods, without caveat. It is absolutely my favorite game of the year. So, that's my personal top 10 of the year. I know I should have Nier Automata and Cuphead on here. I couldn't play Nier. The PC port was fucked. I couldn't play it. And Cuphead's cool, but yeah, I'm not super interested in it. And neither am I interested in Sonic Mania. I'm trying to think of like any of like the big games that are probably going to be on a lot of people's lists. Because last year I got flack for not having Inside, and I'm like, I don't care about Inside. But yeah, those are my favorite games of 2017. There's a lot more and a bunch of stuff on consoles I didn't touch, like, you know, Breath of the Wild and stuff like that. But I think I have a pretty good list here. So anyway, yeah, that's all for now. I'll see you later. Have a nice year, everyone. Bye.